friends and enemies alike. Thank you for joining me at X Yoga Podcasts. Discussions, what I hope to keep in 15 minutes or less on the ponderances of life. And today, I think it is actually around the word ponderance that I'd like to focus. It's the thoughts of thoughts, which is a bit ironic, I think. I can't really think of what irony should be defined as today. But thinking about thoughts, let's keep it as that. A friend, we'll call her G. G mentioned to me yesterday we were floating on the Delaware River water gap, right? And we were just in complete relaxation on a beautiful July day, sunny, just a little bit breezy. It was great. And we were out there for 5 hours floating down the river on these tubes. Absolutely magnificent. Why? Because it slowed down life. It slowed down thoughts. And in one of our breaks off on the shore, we were just shooting conversation, and she read this thing where it said the average human has 60,000 thoughts. I said to her, "There's no way it's 60,000 thoughts because I think at least 100,000, as far as I can count, and I've tried to count, and you can't count." So let's just keep it at 60,000 like the study suggests. I'm going to count unconscious thoughts in that, by the way, because it is true to me, at least, that our unconscious thoughts do affect the way we act in the world. And so let's count that as relevant, yeah? So not only that, but we brought up on how the subject of positive and negative thoughts and how they affect the world. And the hypothesis was, if I think positively, I will influence the world around me positively, or better, or whatever. At the very least, not worse. I won't do damage if I'm thinking positively to myself or others. So the thing about that is, I said, that is true. I do believe that the intention you commit to yourself and the attitude of which you bring into the world can affect your surroundings internally, externally, and the same surroundings of people around you, at the very minimum around you. But it's not just that one negative thought will influence our entire world. And it's not just one positive thought that's going to change our world for the better either. It's the fact that we have 60,000 thoughts. So one negative thought, maybe we won't even notice. 1,000 in a day, maybe that's 20 minutes. And you say, it's not that bad either. Just drawn out across the day. 10,000 negative thoughts though, which that's very realistic. 30,000. If I get the number, say half. Half of your thoughts now are negative thoughts. Define a negative thought. I didn't eat right last week, and it's affected my sleep schedule all this week. Or your thought maybe, I don't know how to eat right, or I wish I could eat right. I wish I was different. A lot of I wishes and I can'ts and I don'ts. Do this and I don't do that. That's a negative thought for me. It's a sour. Personally, this is me, a sour relationship with a half brother, and it's like, how often do I think of that? I thought about it right here. All right, interesting. So it's not just that we have one of these; it's that maybe we're thinking half of the time negatively. And now take it over the tipping point, more than half, 40,000, 50,000, maybe up to 95% of our thoughts. If they're negative, what kind of output are we having? Are we releasing into the world? You gotta, I don't care if you believe it or don't believe it. I'm going to say it's true that if you are thinking 90% plus negative thoughts, you're having a pretty bad time of it in life. I'm not happy if I were right about that. It's just that I think that is absolutely the case. So our problem that we face is that we're bombarded with thoughts, and they come from the external world, and they also spring up from inside of us. And how do you control those ones especially, right? Well, there's this meditation that I learned in my spiritual healing classes. It's not a prayer. It's not external. It's not physical, although it might feel physical inside or on the skin or whatever. The whole point of it, I'll go through the steps a little bit, okay, instead of telling you the point of it. The steps would be to come to a place in the mind where you neither force thoughts out or in, you just see them as they come up, right? And that happens, that's the way our thoughts work. If you were to ask me how thoughts work, I don't know, they just show up. I don't really, maybe I give myself a section of thought to be within, but then I'll remember that I forgot to brush my teeth in the morning, which I didn't. I brushed my teeth this morning. But, things pop up or pop in, and they visit and they go away. And so this meditation starts by just letting the thoughts come and go. And then let's notice what those thoughts are. And then let's take thought A and see what happens right next to it with thought B. How did I just go from thinking I didn't brush my teeth this morning to, shoot, I forgot to feed the dog also. What's this in between? What is that? We're going to call it the space between for now, or a gap. It's a gap between thoughts. So the other point then comes to the meditation where we notice our thoughts coming and going. Then we rest on this gap in between thoughts. Okay. We try and take the gap, try and expand upon it, try and hold it where it is, and just notice what the next thought is that rides in, right? Swoops in. It feels like the thought is just. Try and find the beginning of that thought. Slow it down. Expand the millisecond that the thought starts in. Start to expand it. Why? Well, I leave you to determine your own point of that meditation. For me, I'll tell you for me though, it is to take stock of our thoughts. Sure, get to see what they are, but then also slow them down. And when you slow something down, like if you were able to think in slow motion, I think you would notice that you have a lot more options than you realize when it's time to choose a thought or choose an action based on your thoughts. So slowing down our thoughts here, finding this gap and expanding upon it allows for more options on how I act, on how I think, and that to me is pretty powerful, the thinking piece of that, because if I can slow down and think differently, if I can change the course of my thoughts, well then all of a sudden maybe I'm changing my patterns of my thoughts. Maybe I have negative thoughts surrounding this relationship I had mentioned earlier with the brother. Maybe now I'm able to say, wait a second, what are my other options? What's he thinking? Why did it get to be this way? Did I do this? That's a great thought. Man, what part did I have in the sour and wrecked relationship that we have today? Because there's certainly an implicit bias that you're hearing from me on this subject, right? So now we're taking the thought, expanding, taking a bird's eye view on it, right? We want to be off of the ground, off of the battlegrounds, if you will, of this thought, and take it to another perspective, another level where we can see and say to ourselves, hey, what's going on here? All right. So that's the meditation that I'm bringing forth to you. I'm not going to name what it is. I would love to have a discussion about how you might practice it, or what methods you have in slowing down your thoughts and changing your patterns of thought, which inherently become patterns of behavior. And then there's some other stuff that I found very, very useful, and that is to schedule some time to be lost. Right? Schedule time, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour in a day or a week, to just say, I don't know. And then, well, the I don't know brings thoughts or options you might not have had before. The I don't know allows you to fail and think off of the beaten path instead of expecting yourself to always be right the first time, which is expected of us a lot of times throughout life. But the more understanding we are with each other, with ourselves, the more we can forgive if we don't get it right the first time and improve upon it the second time. Another thing would be to pay attention to the negative thoughts, write them down. Why are they coming up? I believe negative thoughts have not only an impact on your life, but they have a significant meaning of importance to your life. There's a reason we think negatively. For me, it would be to listen to the negative thought, be open to what it's saying. And you might not like the message, right? It might be harsh to hear. Let's say I have no friends. Everyone hates me. No one likes me. No one talks to me. Why is that? Is it the people or is it myself? And I would have to, in that case, be open to it being myself. And maybe my negative thoughts are trying to tell me, hey, you should listen. Don't curse so much. Don't don't judge people so much. Excuse me. Don't. The example could go on and on about how you treat people wrongly, and then it starts to impact it. Nobody wants to hang out with you, right? No one invites you out anymore. So take a bird's eye view. Expand upon the thoughts. Write them down would be my next very, very significant piece of advice. If you haven't tried writing down into a journal or on scratch pads, you can throw them out after. It doesn't matter. You don't ever have to read them again. But elaborate on your thought. Right? That that is actively slowing yourself down. I want you to do it by pen and paper, by the way, because I don't know how fast you can type. Penmanship at least takes you a little bit longer, so you get to really think it and feel the words that you're putting down on paper. And a very practical piece of advice as well would be to take whatever you're putting off that could take less than 5 minutes and do it right now. So if if my room is a mess, if I have clothes all over the floor, the bed is not made, my desk is, there's like 10 pieces of paper on my desk right now that I purposely aimed the camera up so you can't see. It's going to take less than 5 minutes. Do it. Get it out of the mind. The negative thought might be there because it's telling you this could be done. You know, we don't need to have this thought anymore if it gets taken care of. All right, so that's great. Listen to that. All right, my friends. I think it was 15 minutes or less. All right. Notice the patterns of thought. See how they're affecting your world, and go from there. Does it need to be changed, or does it need to be just slightly improved upon? Does it serve you anymore? And go from there. I really appreciate you tuning in. Let me know if you have any suggestions for me. This certainly was not an expansive list of how to deal with these thoughts. It's just meant to say that, hey, be aware that you have 60,000 thoughts in a day. Use your thoughts wisely, right? Thanks a lot, my friends. Take care.